To be honest, my dad always told me that photography was a waste of time and money, and I needed to get a real job, and I needed to go off and become an engineer or, work for the government. And, that was that mentality back then.
How do you think your parents influenced you?
My dad was, I look back and he was a provider for the community. He was a strong man. He was an honorable man. He could fix absolutely anything. When in a community like this, it was just impressive to see the Inuit, who are already incredibly gifted at fixing things, because you have to be able to fix things. But my dad was always in high demand, fixing snowmobiles, fixing trucks, fixing vehicles, fixing homes. I was just always, and my mom was, I just loved how she got involved in the community. She would go into bannock baking contests, which where they make bread, or, seal boiling contests, and we were just very involved in the community and very much a part of it. And I just really admired how my family was always very humble and very grateful, and just to learn that respect for other cultures and other people's lives. And it was always, I felt safe and felt like we could navigate comfortably through spaces like this.
What do you think they did that, even if indirectly, led you to taking the path that you took?
I mean, to be honest, my dad always told me that photography was a waste of time and money, and I needed to get a real job, and I needed to go off and become an engineer or, work for the government. And, that was that mentality back then, that you had to get a job, work till you were 60, you retire, and then you start living your life. And, and he resisted me on that. But it's so funny. When I wanted to leave my good government job when I was 26 years old, I had a lot of resistance from my dad. My mom's like, son, go follow your heart. You got to do what you got to do.
She was?
Yeah, much more supportive. She even would sneak me, once in a while when I was starting photography, she would sneak me in and help me buy one of my lenses that I couldn't afford, or, but my dad was pretty much against it. But once I set off on the path and it looked like I was happy and doing things well, he just wanted me to succeed in life. And once I showed that I was successful in the path that I chose, he was then very proud, probably more proud than anybody. It was embarrassing to go into his house, that every wall was covered in my images that I was embarrassed about, because you grow as a photographer. It's just like terrible photography. And he was just so proud of these big prints that I'd given him through my path as an artist. And so. You're
8, 9 years old, and you take a photo and your mom helps you develop it. How well do you recall that?
I was just, when you grow up in the North as a kid, you think that nothing is available to you. I think you look at this big world out there and you're in awe of the world. You're in awe of Jacques Cousteau. You're in awe of everybody who's achieving something in life. And I looked at everybody with a camera and I'm like, that will never be available to me in life. But you're just in awe. And I remember my mom had a camera. She had a Pentax K1000, the simplest of manual cameras you could have back then. And she had a little Lightroom in our food cellar, and she would go in there and she would shoot black and white pictures, and she would develop them, and then she would process these images. And just seeing this world, this black and white seascape come to life of Inuit hunters out on the ice hunting and traveling, I was just blown away by it. It was magic to me, and all of a sudden you see it with your eyes, and then to see an image get developed and come up and to even be more beautiful representation of what you've just witnessed. I just thought it was a powerful thing. But at that point, still as a kid, you would never think that it was ever available to me. I didn't first pick up my mom's camera until I was 16 years old, so but I was in awe of the process.
And she was taking outdoor photos?
Mostly outdoors.
Okay.
with the Inuit, being on the land. We traveled a lot. We would camp for weeks at a time, traveling across the sea ice, going on, hunting, and my dad again providing for the community and being out there with the Inuit, and she was capturing that way of life.